Have you ever thought about how we can provide the best care for our elderly loved ones without spending all our savings? The answer might surprise you. In this video, I will share 3 real-life stories of seniors who discovered clever and affordable ways to live with dignity and joy. These stories show how strong family bonds, community support, and adjusting to new ways of living can make a significant difference. Come along as we celebrate the strength and wisdom of our elders. First, let's hear from Grandpa Sue, who is 75 years old. He has tried both living in a nursing home and hiring a caregiver, but both options are costly and not always the best fit, especially for those without a large pension. This year, I turned 75, and my wife passed away over 5 years ago. Not long after she died, I hired a caregiver, but I let her go after just 2 months. I've never been good at cooking, so my kids were worried I wouldn't eat properly. They offered to cover the cost of a caregiver, and we settled on 5,500 yuan a month, which included meals and a place to stay. The caregiver was about 40 years old and came from a village. She seemed trustworthy, but her cooking was awful, and she spent most of her time watching TV or looking at her phone. I had to call her several times before she even noticed me. In the end, I let her go. It felt like I was the one taking care of her. Spending more than 5,000 yuan a month for someone who barely helped and cooked food I couldn't eat didn't make sense. I thought that money would be better used for groceries, so I decided to live without a caregiver. Then, my children helped me find a spot in a nursing home, but I didn't want to go. They insisted because they were afraid I wouldn't be safe on my own. Nursing homes these days are okay, but the staff isn't always caring, and the rules are very strict. You have to sign in and out every time. I love my freedom, and I can't stand those kinds of rules. Also, elderly people pass away frequently in those places, and the mood can be very gloomy. I didn't last a full month before I chose to leave. From my experience, if someone can still take care of themselves, they shouldn't go to a nursing home, especially if they care about their independence. Later, my kids suggested I rotate living with each of them. They meant well, but I felt uneasy. I stayed with them, but never for more than 2 weeks. First, I stayed at my son's house. He and his wife work full-time and are rarely home. When I arrived, my daughter-in-law would make lunch for me and leave it in the fridge before leaving for work. They were already busy, and when they came home, they still had house chores to do. I felt like I was adding to their workload, which made me uncomfortable. During the day, I was alone most of the time. I didn't know many neighbors, and I didn't feel as at ease as I did in my own house. Even though they treated me kindly, I noticed that young people sometimes treat older folks with a bit of disrespect. At my son's house, the dishes I used were separate from theirs. At my daughter-in-law's house, she didn't want me using the washing machine because she said elderly people's clothes smell old. I'm okay with hand washing my clothes, but she didn't like that either, so I had to go to the laundromat downstairs, which wasn't convenient. In the end, there's truly no place like your own home. As for my daughter, I never expected her to take care of me. She and her husband are always welcoming, but I know my son-in-law has his own parents to care for. Back when their kids were small, it was the grandparents on the mother's side who helped raise them. When my daughter got married, it was her family who helped buy the house and car. As we get older, we need to see our situation clearly. Since my wife passed away, I've learned something important. As you age, you must depend on yourself. As long as I can still manage on my own, I don't need to stay anywhere else. Now, I've learned to cook simple dishes like stir-fry and even make steamed buns. I also practice Tai Chi every morning. I meet up with a group of seniors at the square to exercise. Staying healthy and keeping a positive mindset is what matters most to me. Last year, some of us in the Tai Chi group started helping each other out. There are over 10 of us, and most, like me, live alone without a partner or nearby family. Later, we joined a WeChat group for elderly people living on their own. Since last year, the group has grown to nearly 20 people. Why did we make this group? As we get older and don't have family nearby, it's really important to have someone to turn to when we feel sick or are in pain. Many older people like us don't want to go to nursing homes or hire caregivers, especially when our pensions are small. So, we came together to help each other through this stage of life. In recent years, there have been many online reports of elderly people living alone who passed away and weren't found for days. That's why we made this group, to check in and make sure everyone is okay. Each morning, we check in through the group. If someone doesn't respond, someone will go visit them. We all live close by, either in the same building or nearby. Over time, our group became a space where we help each other out. If someone gets sick and needs help with soup or going to the hospital, it's not free. We pay each other 8 yuan per hour. If I'm feeling unwell and need someone to come with me to the hospital, I let the group know, and whoever is available helps out. For example, the last time I needed help, Grandpa from the group came and stayed with me through checkups for 3 days, 8 hours a day. I paid him 720 yuan as agreed. Everyone likes this system. We get support and can earn some money too. Sometimes you help me, and I pay you. Other times I help you, and you pay me. It's fair and works well. Plus, we understand each other because we're in the same situation. This setup is more affordable than a caregiver or nursing home. The best part is that we trust each other. Thanks to the group, our children also feel more at ease. Sometimes we go on group outings, take walks in the park, and enjoy ourselves. What started as a small group has grown into something much bigger. More elderly folks are joining us. It takes stress off our kids and gives us emotional support. Every day, someone cares, someone checks in, and if we get sick, we're not alone. In the end, it only costs a few hundred yuan, which is much cheaper than other care options. I believe this way is good for many seniors who can still take care of themselves. We work together to care for each other, support one another, and even earn a little money. If these stories touched you and made you want to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your opinion means a lot to us. Thank you for watching and giving your time. I'm Grandpa, and I'm 65 years old. My kids are very thoughtful, but I don't want to live with them. I found a lifestyle that suits me. Many older folks move in with their children or go to a senior home after they retire, but neither choice feels right for me. The life I've chosen brings me comfort. My wife passed away more than 2 years ago. Some friends suggested I find a new partner, but I don't see the need. I enjoy peace and quiet. After losing my wife, I've learned to enjoy my own company. The thought of meeting someone new just doesn't feel right now. I like to write, read, and care for my plants. I sometimes meet neighbors for tea and chats. I'm doing well. I live alone, but my kids are just a 30-minute drive away. They come visit me from time to time. I get a pension of 6 yuan a month. My kids have their own families now, and I don't need to support them, so I've saved some money. Since I live alone, my kids worry about me. They've asked me to move in with them, but I've always said no. They don't want me to feel lonely and even suggested a senior home, saying there would be people around and I wouldn't need to cook or do chores. The moment they mentioned a senior home, I said, "No, I'm healthy. I can still cook and clean. Why should I go?" My kids have brought it up many times, but I always refuse. I know they mean well, but I don't want to be a burden. Moving into their homes would not only trouble them, but also make things harder for me. Seeing that I didn't like the idea of living with them, they suggested getting a caregiver. As soon as I heard that, I shook my head. I don't feel right having a young woman live with me. My daughter laughed when she saw my reaction. Then she said, "Don't worry, Dad, it's not the kind of caregiver you're thinking of." That got my attention. I was curious. My daughter explained that this service helps seniors by setting up cameras in the house that connect. If I had moved in, I might not even have a proper place to sleep. After staying at my son's house, I really understood that old saying, "A parent's home is always the children's home, but the children's home will never truly be the parent's home." Since coming back, I don't expect much from either my son or my daughter anymore. The more you expect, the more likely you are to feel disappointed. Then some neighbors in the area suggested that, given my age, I shouldn't solely depend on my kids and perhaps should find a companion. Thanks to a friend's advice, I met Lulu, who is a few years older than me and receives a monthly pension of over 5,000 yen, which is a bit more than mine. My friend said Lulu had a kind nature and had lost his wife some years ago, so he was looking for someone to spend time with. Deep down, I wasn't opposed to the idea of having a new relationship, but I didn't want to rush into anything either, so I agreed to go out with him to see how things might develop. Lulu lives in the next neighborhood over, and from time to time, we would go for walks at the morning market and pick up some groceries. Together. After more than 2 months, we both felt good about how things were progressing, and Lulu invited me over to his place, suggesting that I could rent out my own home, which would bring in more than 1,000 yuan a month. Hearing that he had thought this through for me, I didn't immediately dismiss the idea. However, I didn't expect that less than a month after moving in, I would already grow tired of it all before I even managed to rent out my house. Lulu had told me that if we lived together, he would handle the living costs, and we would do the shopping and cooking together. But once we started living under the same roof, I realized that wasn't how things really worked. It wasn't just about the chores. It was also about how Lulu would leave the house in a mess, and I simply couldn't handle it. One day, when we were at a shopping mall, I saw a second-hand gold ring for under 500 yuan. Since the shop had just opened, I asked Lulu to buy it for me as a small gesture of our relationship. I thought it could be a symbol, like an engagement ring. It wasn't expensive, just a few hundred yuan, but Lulu refused right away and said we were too old for that sort of thing. He even joked that it made more sense to spend the money on some golden pork ribs instead. Since he didn't buy it, I decided to get it for myself. I pulled out my card and bought the ring right then and there. Lulu had also promised that once we lived together, he would give me his pension each month. He did that for the first month, but when I asked about it later, he said he had already paid for things around the house and wanted to save the rest. At first, it didn't seem like a big deal, and I thought I could accept that. But what I couldn't stand was his lazy attitude. At the beginning, we had agreed to split the housework, which went okay for about a week, but then his true self started to show. He would go out during the day to play cards and come back expecting food, then complain that I hadn't cooked anything. I reminded him that we had agreed to share the work. He was supposed to get the vegetables while I cooked, but instead, he would just lie on the couch and not move. When I did cook and set the table, he would always have something to complain about. Either it was too salty or didn't taste right. I realized he was the kind of man who thought women should do all the work. When I brought it up, he said that since he was paying for my expenses, I should do the chores. I'm not someone who can accept that, so that same day I packed my bags and went back home. Luckily, I hadn't rented my house out yet, so I still had a place of my own, along with my pension. Why should I put up with that? I'm not someone's free maid, and I don't need to deal with his attitude, so I returned to living on my own. At first, I thought living alone wasn't too bad, but soon the quiet nights made me feel very lonely. Every corner of my home reminded me of my late husband, and it became difficult to bear. One day, during a friend's son's wedding, she told me she was also single and had moved into a hotel apartment. She said it was convenient, cozy, and not too expensive. She had already been staying there for over 6 months. After the wedding, she brought me to her apartment, and I was instantly drawn to the atmosphere. At last, I found a way of living that suited me. These kinds of places have become popular in many big cities, and some are made especially for older adults. Each unit is a studio with warm, homely decor. The best part is they provide meals, breakfast and dinner, so there's no need to cook, plus they have staff who clean the rooms daily. The cost is about the same as a regular retirement home, but the food is great, and you have complete freedom to come and go. That day, when I got back home, I contacted an agency and put my old house up for rent. I did the math. If I got 1,000 yuan from rent and had my pension of 4,200 yuan, I could move into the hotel apartment. I then called my children to let them know I had finally found a way of living that suited me. When they heard I was staying in a hotel, they thought it was too costly. I didn't pay much attention to their comments and just told them, "If you think it's too expensive, you can help me out a bit. I don't need much. Just 100 yuan a month from each of you would be enough." I told them, "I don't want to become a burden to anyone. After working hard my whole life, I want to enjoy my retirement in my own way. By combining my savings and a bit of help from my kids, I can live peacefully in the hotel apartment. After all these years of effort, it's time I look after myself. At this stage in life, money can't be taken with you when you're born or when you die. I don't want to be tied down by it. As long as I can eat, sleep, and move freely, then the lifestyle that suits me is the right one." This senior hotel costs just over 3,800 yuan a month. It's a little on the high side, but it gives me peace of mind and freedom, so I think it's worth it. Still, this kind of place isn't for everyone. They only accept older people who can still take care of themselves, and there's an age limit. You have to be under 75. Some people may ask what happens after that age. Who knows? I'll figure that out when the time comes. For now, I'm healthy and making the most of each day. Living with children during old age is something many elderly people experience, whether it's by choice or because they have no other option. It can be warm and supportive, but it also has challenges. The differences in generations, ways of living, and expectations can create stress for both parents and their adult children. To keep things peaceful, older parents should keep some things in mind when living with their children. Good communication, respecting personal space, staying independent, and understanding each other's emotions can make it a much better experience. Talking openly is one of the most important parts. Before moving in together, both sides should talk about their hopes and what they expect. This includes things like chores, money, daily routines, and even private space. Discussing all this early can help avoid arguments later. Both parents and children should feel heard and respected. It's also very important to respect each other's space. Even if you're sharing a home, parents and children still have their own lives. Parents should let their kids live freely without too much advice or criticism. Don't comment on how they raise their children, live their lives, or spend their money. Giving them space can help everyone get along better. At the same time, elderly parents should try to stay as independent as they can. It's easy to depend too much on your children, especially when you're feeling unwell or lonely, but doing things on your own helps you feel better and makes things easier for your kids. Hobbies, joining activities, or meeting friends can help keep your spirits up and avoid feeling too alone. Being flexible is also important. Life changes for both sides. Your kids may be busy with work, raising kids, or dealing with other problems. Older parents should understand this and not take it personally. Try to be patient and kind, and it will make the living situation more peaceful for everyone. Understanding each other emotionally is just as important. As parents get older, they may feel weak or like they're losing control. It's good to be aware of those feelings and talk about them calmly. Children should also try to understand that aging comes with many emotions. Both sides should try to listen and care for one another. Don't forget the importance of being thankful. Living together is a big change. Saying thank you to one another can really help. Parents should thank their children for letting them stay, and children should also thank their parents, whether for helping out, giving advice, or simply being there. These small gestures can help build a loving and respectful home. As we've seen, the future of elderly care is looking brighter with new ideas and options like these. We can make sure older people feel valued, respected, and cared for. Even small, kind acts can make a huge difference. Let's all do our part to build a caring and inclusive world.